Let me make something crystal clear. Your silence is your power, and your reaction is their victory. Right now, you're standing at a crossroads. This is the moment where you decide whether you'll keep playing their game, letting them control your emotions, or finally take back the reins and become the master of your own destiny. Let me ask you something. Every time you've chased, pleaded, or tried to prove your worth, what's been the result? Did it bring them closer, or did it push them further away? Deep down, you already know the answer. They drifted, and you crumbled. It's a painful, confusing cycle, isn't it? But here's the good news. That cycle ends today. Right here, right now, we're going to dive deep into the questions swirling in your mind. The doubts, the what-ifs, the nagging feelings that keep you stuck. And through this, you're going to discover why silence is not just the best response, but the ultimate solution. Before we get started, let me ask one small favor. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and join me on this transformative journey. Let's take this step forward together. And now, let's begin. Imagine this. You're standing in the middle of a storm, rain pouring down, desperately trying to keep a candle from going out. The more you protect it, the more it flickers, threatening to disappear entirely. That's what begging and chasing look like in relationships, a frantic attempt to hold on to something that's already slipping away. Let's be honest, we've all been there. We've sent the one last message, posted cryptic statuses, or tried to remind them of our worth. But every time we do, we give them something more precious than our words, our power. Every reaction, every desperate move is like handing them the keys to our emotions. And what do they do with that power? They pull away even more. But here's the part that stings the most. It's not just them pulling away that hurts. It's what we do to ourselves in the process. Every time you beg someone to stay, you're sending a message, not just to them, but to yourself. That message says, "You are more important than me. Your validation defines my worth." And let me tell you something, no one wants to choose someone who has already decided they're not worthy. Take a moment to let that sink in. When you place someone else's opinion of you above your own, you're not just giving them control, you're giving them permission to decide your value. But let me ask you, is their opinion really worth that much? Are they so extraordinary that their approval should determine how you see yourself? The answer is no. And yet, that's exactly what we do when we chase after someone who isn't chasing back. Here's where things get interesting. What if, instead of pouring all that energy into chasing them, you decided to pour it into yourself? What if, instead of reacting to their games, their silences, their indifference, you chose not to react at all? Imagine that. Imagine standing tall, holding your head high, and choosing silence, not as a punishment or a game, but as a declaration of your own power. Silence is not weakness. Silence is strength. Silence is the space where transformation begins. It's the moment you stop looking outward for answers and start looking inward. It's not about confusing them or making them miss you. It's about reclaiming all the energy you've wasted and redirecting it into building the life you deserve. Let me paint you another picture. Imagine you're on a stage, but instead of standing in the spotlight, you're sitting in the dark, watching someone else bask in the glow of your attention. They're performing, and you're clapping, hoping they'll notice you. Now, ask yourself, why are you sitting there? Why are you cheering for someone who doesn't even acknowledge you? You are not the audience in this story. You're the star. But here's the thing. The spotlight isn't fixed. You control where it shines, and right now, it's time to take it back. Stop wasting your energy illuminating their life and start using it to illuminate your own. When you turn that light inward, something incredible happens. You stop waiting for someone else to see your worth because you've started seeing it yourself. You realize you don't need anyone else to validate you because you're already complete. This isn't just about silence. It's about transformation. It's about stepping into the version of yourself that no one, not even them, could have imagined. This is about taking the energy you've spent chasing, begging, and explaining, and using it to build a life so vibrant, so extraordinary, that their absence becomes irrelevant. Now, let me warn you, this won't be easy. There will be moments when you're tempted to go back, to react, to reach out. But every time you feel that urge, I want you to remember this. Your reaction is their victory. By staying silent, you're not just taking back your power, you're refusing to give it away in the first place. And here's the beauty of it. When you choose silence, the game changes. They're no longer in control. Suddenly, they're the ones left wondering, questioning, searching for answers. But by then, it won't matter. Because while they're chasing shadows of the past, you'll be moving forward, thriving and creating a life that no longer revolves around them. So, are you ready to take that first step? Are you ready to stop chasing, stop reacting, and start reclaiming your power? If you are, then stay with me. This is just the beginning. Together, we're going to uncover the real power of silence and how it can transform not just your relationships, but your entire life. Hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment below. Write, "I choose silence," and let that be your declaration to the world and to yourself that you're done playing their game. This is your moment. Own it. And now, let's dive deeper into the journey ahead. Number 1. Master the art of silent strength. Have you ever watched a tree in the middle of a storm? It doesn't fight the wind. It doesn't bend to beg for the storm's mercy. Instead, it stands rooted, strong, and silent, allowing the storm to pass. That's the power of silent strength, an unyielding force that doesn't need to scream or plead for recognition. And just like that tree, your silence can be your greatest weapon, a profound statement that you won't be shaken by the chaos around you. As Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. This timeless wisdom serves as a reminder that strength doesn't lie in reacting to the actions of others. It lies in mastering your inner world. Silence isn't just the absence of noise. It's the presence of unshakable confidence, a quiet declaration that your value isn't dictated by someone else's behavior. Imagine standing in the middle of a concert. The music is deafening, the lights are blinding, and the crowd is chaotic. But then the power cuts out. The sudden silence is so powerful it makes everyone pause, reevaluate, and notice what was missing in all the noise. That's what your silence does in relationships. When you choose to stop reacting, to stop chasing, you create a vacuum that demands attention. But here's the twist. This isn't about getting them to notice you. It's about you noticing yourself, your strength, your resilience, your worth. Silent strength is not about running away or shutting down. It's about rising above the need to explain, justify, or fight for someone's approval. Think of it like a lighthouse. It doesn't chase the ships or beg for attention. It simply shines. The ships that need its light will come, and those that don't were never meant to. In the same way, your silence should be rooted in self-respect, not in a hidden agenda to make someone miss you or feel regret. True silent strength is about letting go of what you can't control and focusing entirely on what you can, yourself. Silence is also a test of how much you've learned to value your peace over their attention. When you stop engaging in their games, their ghosting, or their mind tricks, you're no longer handing over the keys to your emotions. You're saying, "I'm not your puppet, and I refuse to dance to your tune." This quiet refusal is the loudest statement you can make. It shows that your worth doesn't depend on their validation. And the moment you realize this, something magical happens. You stop caring about their response altogether. Your silence becomes not a strategy, but a state of being, a reflection of your unshakable self-worth. Let me paint another picture for you. Imagine being in a marketplace filled with merchants shouting, trying to sell you their wares. Amid the noise, you see one stall-keeper who doesn't yell, doesn't push, but simply arranges their goods with care and confidence. People naturally gravitate toward that person because their calm demeanor speaks volumes. That's what mastering silent strength looks like in life. When you stop trying to prove yourself, your energy becomes magnetic. People are drawn to the person who doesn't chase because they sense something rare, self-respect. But let's be clear, this journey isn't easy. There will be moments when your silence feels unbearable, when the urge to speak, to react, to reach out consumes you. This is where your strength is truly tested. Will you give in to the need for their attention, or will you hold your ground and let silence do its work? Every time you choose silence, you're choosing yourself. You're proving that your peace is more important than their games. Remember this: silence is not about playing mind games or manipulating someone into wanting you. It's about stepping back, reassessing your priorities, and putting yourself first. It's about building a life that's so rich, so full of joy and growth, that their absence doesn't matter anymore. Silent strength isn't about hoping they'll notice what they've lost. It's about you realizing what you've gained. As you master the art of silent strength, you'll discover something extraordinary. You'll realize that the person you were chasing wasn't the prize. You were. The peace you're building, the confidence you're cultivating, and the power you're reclaiming are worth far more than the temporary validation you once sought. The true victory is not in their regret, but in your transformation. So, stand tall like the tree in the storm. Shine like the lighthouse that doesn't waver in the darkness. Be the calm in the chaotic marketplace. And most importantly, never forget that your silence speaks louder than words ever could. Your silence is your strength. It's your proof that you don't need to fight for a place in someone else's life, because you've already carved a space for yourself in your own. Take this moment to declare your silent strength. Write in the comments, "I am strong in my silence." Let this affirmation be your guide, your mantra, and your reminder that true power comes from within. If this resonated with you, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. We work tirelessly to bring you lessons that empower and inspire, and your support helps us reach more people on this journey. Together, let's master the art of silent strength and rise to the heights we were always meant to achieve. Number 2, redesign the space they left behind. Imagine standing in an empty room. The walls are bare, the furniture is gone, and every sound echoes in the vast emptiness. It's the kind of void that feels unsettling, almost unbearable. That's the space someone leaves behind when they walk out of your life. But here's the thing about empty spaces. They aren't just reminders of what's missing. They're blank canvases waiting for you to paint something extraordinary. As Rumi once said, "Don't grieve. Anything you lose comes around in another form." The emptiness they left isn't a curse. It's an invitation. It's your chance to redesign, to rebuild, and to fill that space not with what was lost, but with everything you've yet to gain. This is your opportunity to create a life so vibrant, so fulfilling, that their absence becomes irrelevant. Picture a garden overrun with weeds. At first glance, it's chaotic, messy, and far from beautiful. But within that chaos lies potential. You can clear the weeds, plant seeds, and nurture it into something breathtaking. The same is true for the emotional and mental space they left behind. Yes, it feels tangled and overwhelming right now, but with every step you take to clear out the debris, you're making room for something new to grow. The first step is letting go of the remnants they left behind. The pain, the doubts, the what-ifs. These are like broken furniture, cluttering your space, tripping you up every time you try to move forward. It's time to clear it out. Cry if you need to, scream if it helps, but don't let those pieces linger. As Marcus Aurelius said, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. The emptiness they left isn't your barrier, it's your blueprint. Once the space is cleared, it's time to rebuild. But this time, you're not building for them or for anyone else. You're building for you. Start by asking yourself, what makes you come alive? What passions have you neglected? Maybe it's a hobby you've always wanted to explore, a fitness goal you've put off, or simply spending more time with people who lift you up. Every step you take to fill your life with joy and purpose is like adding color, texture, and warmth to that once empty room. Think of it like redecorating a house. Each choice you make reflects who you are and who you want to become. Maybe you add vibrant colors that represent your newfound energy, or maybe you choose minimalist simplicity that symbolizes your clarity and peace. Whatever you choose, let it be a reflection of your growth, not of their absence. As Epictetus said, know first who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly. The beauty of this process is that it's entirely yours. You're no longer living in a space shaped by someone else's presence or absence. You're creating a sanctuary that feels like home, a home built on self-respect, passion, and purpose. And here's the incredible part. As you redesign the space they left behind, you'll find that it wasn't their absence that created the emptiness. It was the fact that you hadn't fully claimed the space for yourself before. There will be moments when the emptiness feels overwhelming, when you're tempted to cling to the memories or the hope that they'll return. In those moments, remind yourself, the space they left behind isn't a tomb for what was lost. It's a stage for what's coming. Their exit wasn't the end of your story. It was the beginning of a new chapter, one where you're the star, the writer, and the architect of your own happiness. And when you've filled that space with all the beauty, strength, and joy you've created, something magical happens. The person who left becomes a distant memory, a footnote in the masterpiece you're crafting. They no longer hold power over you because you've taken all the energy you once gave to them and poured it into building something extraordinary for yourself. So, take a deep breath and embrace this moment. You're not just healing, you're redesigning. You're not just moving on, you're moving up. This is your time to reclaim the space they left behind and turn it into a reflection of the incredible person you are becoming. Let me leave you with this affirmation. I redesign my life for me. Write it in the comments below and let it be your declaration of independence and transformation. If this message resonated with you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We're working hard to create lessons that inspire and empower you to live your best life. Your support helps us reach more people who need to hear this. Together, let's turn every empty space into a masterpiece. Number 3. Take back the pen and rewrite your story. Imagine holding a book in your hands, its pages worn and its ink smudged. Each chapter tells the story of your life so far. But here's the twist. You didn't write most of it. The chapters are filled with someone else's decisions, their indifference, their ability to walk in and out of your life. But as you turn to the next blank page, you suddenly realize something powerful. The pen is in your hands now. What will you write? How will the story go from here? Will you keep letting others dictate the plot, or will you finally take control and rewrite your ending? As the philosopher Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The events that brought you here, the heartbreak, the rejection, the feeling of being overlooked, are not your fault, but how you respond to them is entirely up to you. This is your chance to take back the pen and write a story that reflects your resilience, your worth, and your unshakable strength. Think of your life like a movie. At this moment, you might feel like you're stuck in a disaster scene, playing the role of a victim who can't catch a break. But here's the thing. Every great film has a turning point, and the best heroes always rise from the ashes of their greatest struggles. Imagine editing that movie, cutting out the parts where you begged for someone to notice you, where you doubted your worth because someone else couldn't see it. Replace those scenes with a powerful montage. You rediscovering your passions, setting goals, and thriving in ways they never thought possible. Now that's a story worth watching. Rewriting your story isn't about erasing the past. It's about reframing it. Every setback, every moment of pain can become the foundation of something extraordinary if you choose to see it that way. Think of a broken vase, shattered into pieces. To some, it's just a mess. But to an artist practicing kintsugi, the Japanese art of repairing broken pottery with gold, those cracks become the most beautiful part of the piece. Your scars, your heartbreaks are not flaws. They are the gold that will make your story shine brighter than ever. Right now, you might feel stuck, unsure of where to begin. That's normal. Starting over is intimidating, but it's also liberating. The first step is accepting that you can't rewrite someone else's actions. You can only rewrite how you respond. Their rejection, their inability to value you, does not diminish your worth. As Viktor Frankl once said, when we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. The power to transform your story lies within you, not in their approval. Picture yourself as an author sitting at a desk, the blank page before you glowing with possibility. What does the next chapter look like? Is it filled with the same old patterns of chasing and questioning, or is it a story of triumph and self-discovery? You can't control every plot twist, but you can decide how your character, the strongest, most resilient version of you, responds. Start small. Each day, take one action that aligns with the story you want to tell. Maybe it's setting a boundary, pursuing a forgotten passion, or simply choosing not to react to the things that once broke you. The beauty of rewriting your story is that you get to decide what defines you. Is it the rejection of someone who didn't see your value, or is it the courage to rise above it? Remember, you are not a supporting character in someone else's narrative. You are the protagonist of your own life, and every great protagonist grows stronger through adversity. Let me ask you something. When you look back on this chapter years from now, what do you want to feel? Regret that you let someone else write your story for you, or pride that you took the pen and wrote something extraordinary? The choice is yours, and it starts today. As you turn this page, remind yourself, I am not defined by what happened to me. I am defined by what I choose to become. This is your story. The pain they caused? It's just a comma, not a period. The doubts they left you with, they're just stepping stones to your greatest transformation. You're not erasing the past. You're using it to create a future so beautiful, so powerful, that it overshadows everything that came before. So, what's your next sentence going to be? Will it be, I kept waiting, hoping and chasing? Or will it be, I chose myself, stood tall and never looked back? The pen is in your hands, and the possibilities are endless. Remember this affirmation: I write my own story. Say it, believe it, and make it your reality. Write it in the comments below to declare to the world and to yourself that you're taking back control. If this message resonated with you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We're here to bring you life-changing lessons that help you rise higher. Together, we can turn every blank page into a masterpiece. Your story isn't over, it's just beginning. Start writing. Number 4. Release the chains of the past. Imagine standing on a shoreline, holding onto a heavy anchor that's dragging you down. The waves crash around you, urging you to move forward, but the weight of the anchor keeps you stuck in place. That's what clinging to the past feels like. It's the chains around your ankles, the invisible grip that holds you back from the life waiting just beyond the horizon. But here's the truth. The past isn't your prison. The only lock keeping you trapped is your refusal to let go of the key. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The events of your past, no matter how painful or significant, are outside your control. What is within your control is how you choose to respond to them. You can either replay the memories, overanalyze the mistakes, and let regret dictate your every step, or you can release the chains and take the first step into a future that's entirely yours to create. The past has a sneaky way of disguising itself as comfort. We hold on to old memories, relationships, and what-ifs because they're familiar, even if they hurt. It's like clutching a broken mirror, hoping to see a clear reflection. The more you hold on, the more you bleed, and yet you convince yourself that the pain is worth it. But let me tell you, the reflection you're searching for isn't in the broken shards of yesterday. It's in the pristine canvas of tomorrow. Releasing the past doesn't mean forgetting it or pretending it never happened. It means freeing yourself from the power it holds over you. Imagine trying to climb a mountain while carrying a backpack full of rocks. Each rock represents a regret, a mistake, or a person who walked away. The higher you try to climb, the heavier the burden becomes. At some point, you have to stop, take off the backpack, and leave the rocks behind. Only then can you rise. As Rumi said, don't be satisfied with stories, how things have gone with others. Unfold your own myth. The past is nothing more than a chapter in your story. It's not the whole book, and it certainly isn't the final chapter. You are the author, and you hold the pen. Every time you dwell on what's already happened, you're handing that pen to someone else, letting them dictate the narrative of your life. But the moment you decide to release the past, you take back control. You turn the page and begin a new chapter, one where you are no longer bound by old wounds or outdated beliefs. Think about the sun setting on the horizon. No matter how beautiful or challenging the day was, the sunset marks its end. You can't hold on to the daylight, no matter how hard you try. But you can trust that a new dawn will rise. Let the sunset symbolize your past. It served its purpose, and now it's time to let it go. The darkness of night isn't something to fear. It's a space where transformation begins. And when the sun rises again, It brings with it the promise of new opportunities, new joys, and a new version of you. You might ask, but how do I let go when the pain feels so real? Start by recognizing that holding on isn't serving you. Replaying old memories won't change them. Wishing for a different outcome won't rewrite history. What it will do is rob you of the present moment, the only place where growth and healing can truly occur. Forgiveness, both of yourself and others, is the bridge that leads you out of the past. Forgiveness doesn't mean condoning what happened. It means refusing to let it have power over you any longer. Imagine walking through a garden that you've neglected for years. The weeds have taken over, the flowers have withered, and the path is no longer clear. That garden represents your inner world when you're tethered to the past. To make it beautiful again, you don't curse the weeds or mourn the dead flowers. You roll up your sleeves, pull out what no longer belongs, and plant new seeds. Slowly but surely, the garden begins to bloom again, vibrant and alive. Your life works the same way. To create something new, you have to clear out the old. As you release the chains of the past, you'll find something extraordinary. The strength and clarity to build the life you've always deserved. The weight you've been carrying will no longer define you. The moments that once haunted you will become stepping stones on your journey to greatness. You'll realize that your future isn't shaped by what happened to you, but by how you choose to rise from it. So, take a deep breath and let it go. Imagine yourself dropping that anchor, shedding the backpack of rocks, and stepping into the light of your own power. Repeat this affirmation. I release the past and embrace my future. Write it in the comments below as your declaration of freedom and a commitment to yourself. And before you go, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We're working hard to bring you lessons that inspire, transform, and empower you to become the best version of yourself. Together, we rise. Your next chapter starts now. Write it boldly. Number 5. Step boldly into your spotlight. Have you ever watched the sun rise after a long, dark night? For hours, the world feels cold, quiet, and shadowed, but then, slowly, steadily, the light emerges, flooding the horizon with warmth and clarity. That moment of illumination, when everything is bathed in golden light, is what happens when you decide to step boldly into your spotlight. It's not just about being seen, it's about embracing your light, your worth, and your power unapologetically. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good person should be. Be one." The same principle applies here. Stop waiting for someone else to acknowledge your value or give you permission to shine. This is your life, your story, your stage. The spotlight isn't theirs to control, it's yours to claim. Imagine you've been standing in the wings of a grand theater, watching someone else perform on a stage that was built for you. They've soaked up your attention, taken your energy, and left you in the shadows, clapping quietly, hoping to be noticed. But here's the truth. You were never meant to be an audience member in your own story. You are the star. The stage was made for you, and the only person keeping you from stepping into the light is yourself. When you take back your spotlight, you're not just reclaiming attention, you're rediscovering yourself. This isn't about proving your worth to anyone else, it's about proving it to yourself. Every time you choose to prioritize your dreams, your growth, and your happiness, you're turning that light inward, illuminating every part of you that deserves to shine. As Epictetus wisely said, "Know first who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly." Stepping into your spotlight means embracing every part of yourself, flaws and all, and letting your brilliance be undeniable. Don't wait for someone to hand you the light. Be the light. So ask yourself, are you ready to stop shrinking, stop waiting, and start shining? Your spotlight is waiting. Write this in the comments below. I own my light. Let this be your affirmation and your declaration. And if this message resonates with you, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share this journey with others. Together, we rise. Number 6. Transform into the one. They'll never forget. Have you ever watched a phoenix rise from the ashes, not as a fragile shadow of its former self, but as something entirely new, stronger, brighter, and more untouchable than ever before? That, my friend, is the transformation waiting for you. Right now, you might feel like the ashes, broken, scattered, and insignificant. But what if I told you this is the beginning of something extraordinary? The person who emerges from this moment will not just be remembered, they'll be unforgettable. As Rumi once said, don't be satisfied with stories, how things have gone with others. Unfold your own myth. This is your moment to break free from the narrative they've cast you in. You're not the supporting role in their story. You are the lead in your own. The version of you they walked away from is not the version they'll encounter if they ever look back. You're about to transform into someone so self-assured, so radiant, that their absence becomes irrelevant and your presence becomes legendary. Think of yourself as a sculptor standing before a block of marble. Their rejection, their indifference, it's not the end. It's the raw material. With each step you take to reclaim your power, you're chiseling away at that marble, revealing a masterpiece. They might have dismissed you as ordinary, but what they failed to see is the potential for brilliance that's been waiting to emerge. You're not just changing, you're becoming a work of art that commands attention and respect. This isn't about revenge or making them miss you. It's about becoming the best version of yourself, because you deserve to live as the greatest version of you. When you pour all the energy you once gave to them into your own growth, you'll create a life so extraordinary that it speaks louder than words ever could. They may try to catch a glimpse of you through the cracks of your past, but all they'll see is a silhouette, a ghost of who you used to be, eclipsed by the brilliance of who you've become. Let this be your mantra. I rise above and shine beyond. Write it in the comments as a declaration to yourself and the world. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We're working hard to bring you life-changing lessons like this one. Your transformation starts now. Number 7. Let them chase shadows of who you once were. Have you ever noticed how a shadow always lingers, even when the person who cast it has long walked away? That's the power of your growth, the power to leave an impression so profound that they can't escape it, no matter how far they try to run. The version of you they once knew, the one who begged, pleaded, and gave everything, is gone. But in their minds, that shadow remains, haunting them with the realization of what they've lost and what they can never get back. As Rumi once said, don't grieve. Anything you lose comes round in another form. The form they lose is the old you, the one they took for granted. But the new you, that's not something they'll ever be able to hold. You've become untouchable, like smoke slipping through their fingers. They may try to chase, but all they'll find is the memory of a person who no longer exists. You've grown too strong, too radiant, to be defined by who you were when they left. Picture a butterfly emerging from its cocoon. Once, it was a grounded caterpillar, crawling and waiting for someone to notice its potential. But through transformation, it soared, untethered and unreachable. Those who overlooked the caterpillar now watch the butterfly in awe, knowing they can never return to what they ignored. That's you now. You've risen, leaving behind a shadow of the past while becoming the version of yourself they thought was impossible. Let them chase the ghost of who you were. Let them search for the person they thought they knew, only to find that you've moved far beyond their reach. Their regret, their longing, their realization. It's no longer your concern. What matters now is your journey forward, your growth, and the new life you're building for yourself. You are not here to be caught, to be questioned, or to be won back. You're here to rise, to shine, and to thrive. The person you are now is a masterpiece, unshakable and radiant. Say it out loud. I am untouchable, and I leave shadows behind. Write this affirmation in the comments and let it be your truth. If this resonates with you, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs to hear these life-changing lessons. Your rise starts here, and we're with you every step of the way. Number 8. Rise, reclaim, and redefine your power. Have you ever watched a phoenix rise from its ashes? In mythology, this bird doesn't merely survive destruction, it transforms through it, emerging stronger, more radiant, and completely reborn. Now imagine yourself as that phoenix. Right now you might feel like you're standing in the ruins of what once was, an empty space where their presence used to be. But here's the truth. These ashes are not the end. They're the foundation for your most powerful rise yet. This is your moment to rise, reclaim, and redefine who you are. As the philosopher Epictetus once said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. You've been through the storm, felt the weight of rejection, and perhaps even questioned your worth. But your power isn't in what they took from you. It's in what you choose to rebuild. This is not about returning to the person you were before they left. It's about becoming a version of yourself they wouldn't even recognize, stronger, wiser, and unshakable. Think of your life like a garden. Their absence may feel like a long, harsh winter, everything frozen, lifeless, and bare. But seasons always change. Winter is a clearing, a preparation for spring. Now is the time to plant the seeds of who you want to become. Nurture your passions, cultivate your strengths, and water the soil with self-love. Watch as your garden blooms, vibrant and full of life, no longer dependent on anyone else's presence to thrive. You are not defined by their rejection, their absence, or even your pain. You are defined by how you rise from it. Let this be the moment where you reclaim your energy, your focus, and your light. Redefine your story, not with anger or regret, but with the quiet confidence of someone who knows their worth. It's a tone to payan to yourself that you were always enough. Your rise starts now. Take a deep breath and affirm, I rise, reclaim, and redefine my power. Write this in the comments and let the world know you are ready to begin your